In a lovely forest, a hand appeared from the bushes, and that person let out a pained groan. Chan promptly stood up and spat out whatever was in his mouth. After he finished, he glanced down and realized he was completely naked. In a moment of shock, he let out a loud scream, exclaiming, "Holy crap!" And he quickly grabbed some clothes from his inventory. He was glad to still have the system. He glanced around, unsure if he had arrived in the Shinwu continent or the Tia Yuan continent. Just like that, the system popped up right in front of him, revealing that they were now in the Tia Yuan continent. He took a closer look at the system and noticed 3 bars in different colors that weren't completely full. His eyes widened as he realized the implications. He didn't have enough energy to return to the Shinwu continent somehow. Chan yelled at the dog system. "You're messing with me again," he said, hitting the system. The system was hit, and she felt a twinge of pain, wondering how he could say that. The protagonist was pretty ticked off when he found out that their travel channel could only take them from the Shinwu continent to the Tianyuan continent. She absorbed it, and that is why it's not enough to travel back. "What's your deal with this situation?" he asked with frustration. She materializes to the real world and said that it's totally normal for the system to lose energy. She checked herself to make sure she hadn't lost anything, and she was relieved to find that all her limbs were intact. The system told him to consider it if she didn't stash him in the safe house when the space-time gate went kaput. He would have kicked the bucket. Chan couldn't help but point out that, had she not been there, the gate would still be standing strong. The system responded with a playful suggestion, reminding him that he's a grown man, and maybe he should loosen up a bit. The system's smile took on a slightly mischievous tone as she informed Chan about the ability to absorb power from enemies and double the power generated by the space-time gate. His eyes widened in surprise upon hearing this. Chan had no idea how much longer he'd have to wait for the next opportunity to access the space-time gate. He was curious about when he and Xiaowu would cross paths once more. His stomach rumbled loudly, and he felt a bit lightheaded. He inquired about the duration of his unconsciousness, his body trembling with hunger. She let him know that it's been 3.5 days since he's been out. The system suggested they grab a bite to eat before continuing. She mentioned that those who posed a threat to him were no longer alive. Specifically, the old man and the others who were supposed to accompany him to the Tianyuan continent had all passed away. However, before she could elaborate further, their conversation was abruptly interrupted by the appearance of a large snake. The snake let out a hiss at Chan, fixating on him with a hungry gaze. The system was about to mention their safety, but considering the current situation, it's clear that they are far from being safe. They both froze in shock, their eyes fixed on the snake. The snake chuckled, mentioning that it's been a while since he last had a meal. Chan was taken aback, completely surprised by the snake's ability to speak. The system was also taken aback. The snake didn't seem to mind their surprised expression, as it was simply too hungry. Chan found it amusing that the snake referred to him as a mere mortal, and he quietly muttered, "Silly creature!" His body was soon enveloped in a cool blue glow. Chan's energy intensified, and the snake's eyes lit up with a vibrant green hue. Just as he was about to attack, the main character casually pointed at himself and asked the snake if he even knew who he was. Even though he appeared calm on the surface, deep down, he was absolutely terrified. His legs trembled with fear as he faced his first direct confrontation. The snake was quiet, and his expression spoke volumes. The snake lunged towards him, and it called out, mentioning that they should catch up over a meal, its jaws wide open, preparing to consume him. Chan's face turned to horror, as he exclaimed that the creatures in the Tianyuan continent were smarter than humans. The system was terrified. The snake lunged towards him, emitting a menacing hiss. The system and Chan took off running from the snake. The system was still making a fuss, wondering why she had to run as well. Chan let out a loud scream, exclaiming that he was going to die. The system warned Chan, but it was too late. He slipped, and the snake was already close, ready to devour him. So, get this, the snake totally gobbled him up. But just when things were looking grim, Chan whipped out some secret weapon and took down the snake. The snake's mouth started glowing. The system just looked at Chan with concern. Chan blew its head off with a cannon. The system was impressed, and she gave him a thumbs up. Chan got up and mentioned how technology has completely transformed their lives. The system approached him, checking in to see if he was all right. She breathed a sigh of relief, grateful that there was no immediate danger. Chan expressed his disappointment, lamenting the fact that there were only a few rounds remaining for this powerful weapon. He mused about the missed opportunity to conquer the immortal world before carefully returning the cannon to its designated place in the inventory. She mentioned that the meat of the scaled snake smells pretty tasty. She told him that she was feeling hungry and suggested grabbing a bite to eat. Chan couldn't wait to dig in and start eating. The system interrupted him, saying that she hadn't added the seasoning yet. The master said that the finest ingredients just need a simple cooking technique. "Thanks, nature, for the gift," he said. As soon as the system detected someone nearby, she vanished, and the protagonist simply sat down and began to enjoy his meal in peace. The woman who happened to be nearby was taken aback by the sight of someone in the forest. However, she found herself more attracted to Chan due to the enticing aroma wafting through the forest. She thought it was pretty cool that there was such tasty food in the middle of nowhere. Before I continue, I just wanted to say thanks for all the amazing support I've gotten. It means a lot to me. I really appreciate all the support you've given me with your likes and comments. It means a lot and keeps me motivated to keep creating content. Thanks a lot for your continued support. I'm excited to bring you more videos in the future. Alright, let's keep going. The mysterious girl was checking out the meat with a rumbling stomach, practically drooling. The main character paused her meal and stared at her with confusion. The girl was staring at the meat with amazement. She casually asked for a bite, not bothering to look at Chan. The master was taken aback, exclaiming, "What?" in shock. The girl wasted no time and dove right into devouring the meat. The taste was so incredible that she was completely blown away, experiencing pure bliss from the amazing flavors. "Man, this feeling is just coursing through me, warming me up all over," she thought. The girl couldn't believe it. A simple piece of barbecue meat had catapulted her from the 10th grade of Huang rank all the way to the 1st grade of Xian rank. She was feeling so happy that she tossed her shoes aside. She chowed down on that meat like she hadn't eaten in ages, and she was moving up from 4th grade to 2nd grade. Chan was just sitting there, totally shocked by her appetite. She let out a little burp once she finished. The girl is currently at Xian rank 5th grade. With a smile on her face, she gently patted her stomach and curiously asked why the top chef was all alone in the Beast Mountain range. She went on to mention that cooking food isn't meant for fighting and can be quite dangerous. The master has come to the realization that this girl sees him as some sort of expert who keeps to himself. "Alright, let's get this done," he thought. With a smile, he casually mentioned that she called him Senior. Chan, playing it cool, acted like he had forgotten and asked if this meant she knew him. He was wondering if she could give him a ride back home. The girl believed him. She thought the senior had lost his memories, so she asked in surprise if he had forgotten everything. The senior said he didn't know and that it's possible. He only remembered his name, Chan Fan, and nothing else. The girl felt a wave of sadness wash over her as she gazed at him, contemplating her next move. She got up and glanced at him, telling him not to worry. She introduced herself with a calm demeanor, letting him know that her name was Jiang Rushue. She mentioned that she would pay him back for the meal, and once she finished her work, she would assist him in recovering his lost memories. Chan couldn't help but sweat drop, surprised by how easily she believed him and how much she was willing to do for him. Nonetheless, he expressed his gratitude. The senior gazed at her, a smile on his face, pondering if all Jangs were as lovely and warm-hearted. Out of nowhere, a phoenix let out a loud roar, fixing its gaze on them. The master and Jiang Rushua both glanced up. He couldn't believe it. Jiang Rushua was taken aback, exclaiming that the fire-winged bird had been born. "Hey, senior, let's go." She grabbed his hand and pulled him along, surprising him with her sudden action. They both ended up on the tree, and Jiang Rushua was surprised that they're already here. Two guys were standing there, gazing at something. Jiang Rushua told the senior to hang tight and wait for her here. She assured him that she would be back in no time, and then she headed off to her destination. She realized that Wang Biao and Zhang Xiang were already here. It looks like Lin Yu is one step ahead of her, she thought. As soon as she walked away, the bald guy and the other guy jumped towards him. The bald guy asked why Jiang Rushua brought a mortal to hunt a demonic beast, while the other guy wondered if it was a personal project of hers. The guy with no hair was laughing at him crazily, wearing a big grin that looked absolutely wild, with his eyes glowing a fiery red like some kind of demon. He called out, urging Chan to hurry up and show him what kind of strength he had to defeat Jiang Rushua. He made a rude comment towards her. "Feeling under the weather? Hey, can't you see my strength?" Chan asked, slapping his bald head. The guy with no hair fell to the ground, and the other guy found it hilarious that he was taken down by a regular person. The man touched his head in pain, quickly making an excuse and shouting that he had used a surprise attack. Chan landed on the ground without making a sound. He gave them a stern look and remarked, "You two really missed the mark, mistaking a precious pearl for a fish's eyes." The other guy told him in a straightforward manner that he didn't possess any spiritual power. "So, what are you if not immortal?" he asked. The confident guy had had enough. He raised his voice, telling him to stop with the nonsense. The senior smiled, getting ready for a brawl, and inquired if they were really convinced he's just a regular mortal. "Wanna take me on, huh?" he said, with a smile still plastered across his face. The guy with no hair made a menacing gesture and angrily challenged him to a fight, questioning if he could defeat them. Chan wondered if he could handle the immense power of his first punch in the air. Unbeknownst to him, his strike inadvertently shattered the fabric of reality. Yet even his opponent remained oblivious to this extraordinary event. The protagonist made the system appear in front of him and tapped on a button related to his martial arts. The system warned him that, despite his best efforts, he wouldn't stand a chance against them. The brave guy felt puzzled about his actions and only noticed Chan pressing something without noticing the system. Once Chan had given his studs a boost, he casually expressed his lack of knowledge about being an immortal, but casually mentioned that they were going to meet their demise. The main character leaped to confront the confident individual. A golden aura emanated from his fist as the confident guy grinned with a hint of mischief. He taunted, remarking that after 20 years, this was the best he could do. He playfully teased, claiming that he couldn't even crack an egg. He quickly shielded himself from the incoming punch. But Chan wasn't trying to punch him. He was targeting the vulnerability that all men have. The guy was really upset when his eggs cracked, and he screamed in pain because his next generation had been destroyed. Chan approached the other guy, determined to dismantle his next generation. The other guy, trembling with fear, pleaded for a moment to wait. He was just wondering why he didn't mention a fair fight. The senior didn't pay attention to what he said and didn't treat him well. The bold guy was in pain, holding on to his private part, and there was an egg underneath him, symbolizing the destruction of his future generation. Once he had beaten them, he informed them that soldiers could be quite crafty. The Art of War by Sun Tzu is part of the required reading for 5th graders in the 9-year compulsory education program. This technique is a hidden talent known as severing one's offspring's feet. The system smiled and gave him a thumbs up for being a cunning earthling. The protagonist squatted and rummaged through their bags to see what was inside. Meanwhile, the person who I thought was gone was still in pain with scratches all over his face. He believed that Chan was immortal, and he was furious, thinking that the Saintess and Miss Phoenix were the ones responsible. He clenched his fist in rage. He said in a low tone that he had lost his handsome face and vowed to make up for it by using Chan's life. His eyes blazed with intensity. As a new villain emerged, or had he been a villain all along? So, Jang Rishua casually explained the crystal on her hand, mentioning that it's the crystal core of a first-grade demon beast, ranked Cell. She got lucky, though, which helped her master the esophagus technique. Otherwise, she would have ended up like Lin Yu, buried under the flames of the demon beast. She managed to use a technique to absorb the crystal. Just as she was about to process it, a surge of immense power suddenly swept through the entire area and enveloped Jiang Rushue. She was totally taken aback by the sheer magnitude of power she could sense. She began to float, soaring towards Chan, concerned for the safety of the master. When she got there, she was pretty surprised. She asked what had happened and why there were so many people lying down. Yeah, there were a bunch of people lying around dead, including that red-caped guy. Chan just had this innocent smile on his face. A few hours ago, Chan remembered when he was rummaging through their bags, he stumbled upon a talisman in their bag that gave him some shield defense. As he got hold of it, he didn't even realize that the bastard with the red cape was about to blast him. But just in the nick of time, a barrier appeared to protect him. He also had the Taisu mirror that could counterattack the protagonists used their ability to activate a technique. And a barrier appeared, but this time, it was unique. It offered an incredibly strong defense and had the ability to reflect 90% of the damage. Once again, he was unaware that his opponent's energy was being reflected and sent right back at him. Flashback end. Jiang Rushue took a moment to catch her breath, while Chan quickly came up with an excuse, desperately explaining that he had been waiting for her. Just then, out of nowhere, an assassin appeared and launched an attack. Fortunately, two brave heroes intervened just in time, but unfortunately, they ended up in a coma due to their serious injuries. Chan was really skilled at this, so he decided to act sad. Chan was just thinking about how he didn't want to alter the art style for that conversation. He simply wanted to try out the new system's features. Unfortunately, he didn't anticipate accidentally killing Lao Lu, the red-cape bastard. Jiang Rishue was pretty confused because the deceased happened to be a saint-level powerhouse. She couldn't believe that Wang Bao and Zhang Xiang had actually been defeated by him. She figured that if the master wanted to keep it hush-hush, there had to be a good reason behind it. So, she decided not to spill the beans. She told him that it might not be the best time to discuss that since she needed to make it to the Jiatai Academy before nightfall. "Let's go," she said. Chan was simply glad that it was finally done. As they were soaring through the sky on a sword, the master inquired about Jiatai Academy, a faint blush gracing his cheeks. He was aware of his situation as a married man. So he's basically just toning down his feelings, thoughts, and actions. Jiang Rishue smiled, gazing at him, assuring him that he would discover everything once they arrived. When they arrived, the master was really impressed. "It's even more amazing than the legendary Nine-Dragon City of the Empress," he stated. The master asked if all the students here had advanced magical treasures, and Jiang Rishue confidently replied. Chan chuckled and grinned, drooling a bit as he pondered the possibility of connecting and refining his magical treasures. "Wouldn't I become the strongest in the Tainuan continent?" he mused, glancing at the chickens who seemed to grow wary of him as he drooled while looking at them. The system reminded him to stay committed to his cultivation and refrain from seeking quick solutions. Just as Jiang Rishue and Chan were about to leave, someone intercepted them. The person informed Jiang Rishue that she had indeed arrived at the location. Jiang Rishue was taken aback, her eyes widening in shock as she saw the individual standing before her. "This is Jiang Tao." The confident individual mentioned that if she's interested in joining Jiatai Academy, just let him know, and he'll make the necessary arrangements. He waved his hand fan as he inquired about her decision to flee from the marriage, which caused quite a stir in Jiatai City. She yelled that she never agreed to marry him, and it's all because of his family's pressure. Chan grabbed a watermelon from who knows where and chowed down on it. He was wondering what kind of family drama this is. The guy was really angry and lost his temper, shouting at her and saying that she's just a lonely orphan thrown in the garbage pile. He mentioned that without the Jiang family's kindness, she would have been lost. He kept saying that the Jiang family had given her life and trained her to become a warrior. Then, the arrogant guy shared his opinion, suggesting that marrying him and having a strong heir would be her way of repaying him. He moved closer to her, attempting to touch her. Jiang Rushua swatted his hand away, telling him to remove his pig hooves from her. Chan was casually staring at the scene in front of him, almost as if he was engrossed in a drama series. The confident individual noticed Chan and couldn't help but wonder who this person was. Then, the guy had the audacity to ask who this spectator was. He asked another question. If it's her lover. Chan's eyes widened as he stopped eating his watermelon. Jiang Rushua replied, telling him to stop talking nonsense. The cocky jerk glanced at the main character once more and raised an eyebrow. He thought he had a grasp on the situation and asked her what she meant by seeking the truth wholeheartedly. He then questioned whether she had run away from marriage because of this handsome guy. She was really ticked off at him, and the cocky jerk warned her to be careful with her words. He really went all out and insulted her, calling her a whore. There were a lot of disturbing things he was saying, like the excessive insults that really got to the girl. Tears welled up in her eyes and she began to tremble. In a weak voice, she told him to shut up. Chan was absolutely furious with this man for insulting her and causing her to cry. What's really frustrating is that this guy didn't just stop there. He arrogantly claimed that he would be generous and let the other students in the academy have a turn first. He had this evil grin on his face, like he thought he was so clever. Chan swung at him and landed a punch square in his face. The guy was caught off guard and didn't see it coming. Chan gave him a cold stare and suggested that if love isn't returned, one could consider spreading rumors. Where did you learn this kind of scam? Is it from that flute king Moody? He asked in a cold tone. Some of the other students couldn't help but laugh when they saw him being defeated by a mere mortal. One student, with crossed arms, taunted him, saying that this mortal was surprisingly strong, and he didn't even see it coming. The guy was feeling a bit dizzy, but he was listening to all of this and getting pretty annoyed with this group of idiots. He decided to play it cool and act like a regular person to fool everyone, especially since they couldn't see. He opened his eyes, calling them useless. But then he saw someone approaching. He quickly embraced the man's leg, acting like a baby and calling him father. This guy then instructed the bodyguards to keep a tight grip on her engagement. Jiang Rushua was like, "No way am I getting married!" As the guards were keeping a tight grip on her, refusing to release her. She then mentioned to the fool that she could show her gratitude for the Jiang family's support in different ways. But the guy didn't pay attention, and he stared at Chan with a cold glare. The bodyguards had a firm hold on him, with one of them brandishing a blade near his arm, ready to carry out the order of cutting it off. It seems the person in question made the foolish decision to instruct their bodyguard to administer this minor punishment. Chan was taken aback by their unexpected actions. The system was filled with panic, warning of the danger ahead. Chan pleaded with her to stop pretending and bring him back to the safe house. The bodyguard swung the sword, and Chan narrowly avoided a potentially dangerous encounter with his arm. Just as it was about to slice his arm, someone quickly intervened with a scarf or something similar, causing the sword to go flying off to the side. The main character was totally amazed by the individual who rescued them. A lady approached them and casually mentioned that the Jiatai Academy is a covert institution. "Who's got the nerve to stir up trouble here?" she asked. The guy yelled at the lady, claiming it's all about his Jiang family. Jiang Jingyun responded that this is the academy, not the Jiang family. The sword that was about to slice the master's arm ended up landing in front of her. The cocky jerk hid behind his clueless dad, who laughed and remarked that it's no surprise Elder Jingyun is the most law-abiding person in all of Jiatai City. The fool gave Chan a defiant look, confidently declaring that they would cross paths again in the future. Then I'll say until we meet again. It feels like 3 autumns have passed, he said. The guy just turned around and said to his son, "Come on, let's go!" The guy was really mad because he was irritated by that woman who couldn't mind her own business. Chan gave a grateful bow to Elder Jingyun. Jiang Rukshu let out a sigh of relief and expressed gratitude to the elder for her assistance. Jiang Jingyun, on the other hand, crossed her arms and mentioned that she was simply fulfilling her duty, so there was no need for thanks. As she went away, she recalled feeling a powerful spiritual presence emanating from him. It made her wonder whether he had no cultivation at all. Maybe she was wrong after all. The master smiled, remarking that making it through a great calamity brings about some serious luck. He mentioned that out of the blue, he had the urge to buy some lottery tickets. Jiang Ruxue, intrigued, inquired about the lottery and whether she could join in on the purchase. People were lining up inside the gates of Jiatai Academy, eager to enter the academy. The protagonist had a small smile in his face, aware that during his time in the Divine Martial Continent, he had a strong desire to cultivate but couldn't. Now, he can finally make his dream come true in the Tianyuan continent. The person who was registering the student said, "Next!" And Jiang Ruxue went next. They asked her to bring out the crystal nucleus. She was holding a green bag that contained the crystal nucleus. Chan was a bit puzzled, and he asked about the crystal nucleus. Jiang Ruxue said that in order to be admitted to the school, he must submit a mystic grade or higher level monster crystal nucleus. The master was pretty confused, wondering why she hadn't mentioned this rule earlier. Jiang Ruxue assured him that he could surely take the green channel with his ability. She answered him firmly, "Why bother with those regulations?" The main character gave his forehead a good smack, but he smiled and was fascinated by her. He wondered what kind of misunderstanding she had about him. The idiot told Chan that regardless of his abilities, without a crystal nucleus, he could not be admitted. "What do you say?" he asked, looking at Elder Jiang Jingyun. Jiang Jingyun let out a sigh, acknowledging that rules had to be followed. Jiang Ruxue muttered, "Bullying!" She handed over her crystal nucleus to Chan, explaining that it was the crystal nucleus of a fire-winged bird, specifically of a majestic grade. The master was even more puzzled about why she was giving him the crystal nucleus. The idiot shouted, "Outrageous! How dare you privately trade and transfer?" he said, backslapping Chan's hand harshly. He released his grip on the bag, and to his surprise it swiftly soared away. But just as he was about to lose the crystal nucleus, he managed to catch it. Chan showed the fool the crystal nucleus, affirming that rules are rules, and he was correct. The protagonist rummaged through his pocket, or at least something that resembled a pocket, and suggested to the elderly gentleman that he had something amazing to show him. The guy insulted him by calling him a useless brat. "How dare you disrespect me?" he said angrily. Jiang Jingyun simply glanced away, not interested in getting involved in this argument. Chan threw his crystal nucleus towards his face, prompting the startled individual to let out a yelp of pain and frustration. Chan questioned if they could be admitted. He recalled the time he was dissecting the snake and stumbled upon something fascinating. Inside the snake, he discovered a captivating object that initially appeared like a precious gem. However, upon further examination, it turned out to be a nucleus of a legendary monster crystal. Jiang Jingyun examined the crystal nucleus up close and was pretty impressed by it. It seemed to come from a monster of at least 8th grade. She gave them a big congrats and let them know they both got in. The fool clenched his teeth in frustration. For some reason, Chan started singing "Siam," while I was trying to put my hands in my pocket and realizing there were no pockets. The guy was pretty mad that this kid didn't have any spiritual energy, but he managed to get an Earth-grade crystal nucleus. He wondered if there might be someone behind him, silently assisting him. The fool actually told his assassins to just kill him straight up. Chan made it to the yellow character dormitory. Chan couldn't help but think that the living conditions were even worse than Xiao Bai's. The main character was totally clueless about the fact that a couple of assassins were lurking in the trees, and one of them confirmed that they had found their target. He told the other assassin that they would attack during the night. That's it, folks. We've reached the end of all 85 chapters. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, make sure to hit that like button. And don't worry, if they release more chapters, I'll be back with the next video. Thank you all for your support, and stay tuned for a new manhwa coming soon.